Today's topic, I'm going to discuss, should you take Social Security income at age 62, or should you wait until your full retirement age or even later than that? I'm going to make sure to cover the most important questions that an individual, if they're planning for retirement or they're currently in retirement, what sort of questions are most meaningful or most important regarding their Social Security planning situation. So there's going to be 4 main questions on that aspect. Then try to help you guys create some sort of vision for retirement. And the reason why that's important is you want to at least have some sort of roadmap, some sort of point B, some sort of area that you have to strive for, whether that's, hey, I want to stop working at age 65, or I want to reduce my hours by the time I'm age 65, 67, but still work, part-time a little bit here and there just to make some extra money. Or ideally at age 62, this is when I want to stop working. I want to travel the world for the next 5, 10 years, whatever that situation is. So really help you understand how to create that vision, how to create that ultimate dream for retirement, and then scale backwards. And then say, okay, well, what is my current situation? What are my current assets? And then how do you make sure that you're creating the proper plan so that you're able to leverage Social Security planning towards your overall retirement plan so that it could allow your current situation to meet that vision throughout retirement. So what it ultimately does is it takes your emotion and it quantifies it. It puts it into more of a mathematical perspective so you're able to take one bite at a time to make sure, okay, if I do A, then B is going to occur. If I do X, then Y, Z is going to be beneficial to me. So that's ultimately the purpose of this video. If you have questions at any point in time, feel free to give our 1-800 number a call. It's 1-800-566-1002. When giving them a call, you just simply reference this video and ask to speak with an advisor, and we'll make sure that we'll match up the correct advisor for your specific needs, your specific situation. So the first most important question covers provisional income. So what is provisional income? Provisional income is essentially a calculation that when you hit your retirement years and you start collecting Social Security income, it's a specific formula to determine how much of your Social Security income is taxable. So why is this important to know? It's important to know because if you're expecting a specific dollar amount that's coming to you or you and your spouse for retirement through Social Security income, but a large chunk of that is going to be considered taxable income, well, then that's going to mean less of those dollars are actually going to net in your pocket. As an example, let's say that you're going to be receiving $30,000 of Social Security income, and same thing with your spouse is going to be receiving $30,000 of Social Security income. That's 60 grand of joint lifetime income that you're just thinking, okay, this is going to take care of $60,000 of what my expenses are. Now, if you're also collecting monies from IRAs, from 401ks, from other accounts that are going to increase that provisional income calculation, your Social Security incomes can be taxed up to 85% of that benefit based on whatever your tax bracket is. So what that means is you've essentially paid into the Social Security system your entire life. You're getting a fraction back of what you paid into it. And then the government could also tax you on those monies. So there's specific strategies that you could leverage to make sure that as you're collecting income, if you're taking it from the correct assets and from the correct tax qualified buckets, that could significantly reduce the amount of taxation on your Social Security or even eliminate the taxation on your Social Security income. So that's obviously important to know regarding your provisional income calculator. And it really is a case-by-case basis. It depends on, what sort of goal that you have in mind, when you guys are looking to retire, what is your Social Security income going to be, and then what are your other assets that you're looking to help supplement your Social Security income that would accomplish your, income versus expense ratios. So that's something that is obviously a very important question to note and something that you should be looking further into. The second question, or most important question, is based on when you're looking to actually trigger Social Security income. If an individual decides to trigger Social Security income at age 62 versus their full retirement age, which may be age 66, the full retirement age is based on the year that that individual was born. So it could be 65, 66, 66 and 2/3, age 67. And this means that you're going to have your primary insurance amount, your PIA, the full amount of your benefits that you're seeing when you look up your statements. So I always recommend that every individual goes to ssa.gov, they create their login, and they look at what their expected, what their projected Social Security payments are going to be. And you could also toggle with those numbers. Say, what is it going to be at age 62 versus maybe I want to retire at age 64 versus my full retirement age. Or if, let's say, I really enjoy work and I'm healthy and, I don't really care about retiring at 66 or triggering Social Security income at age 66. What sort of benefit do I have to wait until age 70 to delay those benefits? And, all of these different things are going to be a detriment and it's going to be a benefit to you. So like case in point, for the individual that wants to trigger Social Security income earlier, what that means is they're going to start collecting income. Versus if they wait, they have to wait until they have to start collecting that income. Every year, typically the rule of thumb is every year that they wait is going to increase their benefit by roughly about 8%. So 62 to 63, 63 to 64, 64 to 65, based between 62 to your full retirement age, whatever that case might be. So simply put, the longer that you wait, the higher your monthly benefit would be. Now, how could that be a detriment? It could be a detriment because let's say if you wait until your full retirement age at age 66, you start collecting your Social Security payment, something you paid into your entire life, and then all of a sudden you get sick, you come down with some sort of ailment, and you die within a year. You would have waited that entire time, and you would have only collected a year's worth of payments, a year's worth of income, and then you unfortunately passed away. So that's obviously the downside to it. And this is ultimately what the government's doing, is they're saying, okay, let's give this person an incentive to wait longer. Well, why are they doing that? Every year that you wait, or every day that you wait, is one day closer to death. So if they say, hey, rather than wait until age 62, go to age 66, instead of age 66, go to age 70, they're going to keep dangling this nice carrot in front of you to show you, okay, this is going to be this much more of a benefit. This is going to be this much more of a benefit if you wait, if you wait, if you wait. What is the correct answer? Like, what is the correct age to actually start triggering Social Security income? And that really all depends on what your personal situation is. Some individuals might not have longevity on their side, and maybe their parents, their brothers, sisters, whatever that is, they've all passed away in their 60s. So they're thinking to themselves, you know what, I was just, really dealt a bad hand, and I don't feel like I'm going to be living a long life. So it would make more mathematical sense for me to start triggering Social Security income at age 62. So that's more of an emotional side. If, let's say, when you're painting your ideal retirement picture, your vision, and that number is maybe at age 65, and you're saying, okay, at age 65, I understand that I could start collecting Medicare, and that's where I could get off of my employer's, health plan, and I could start collecting Medicare and Medicare supplement plans, Medicare Advantage plans, whatever that is. And then that's going to be the ideal date that I want to trigger Social Security income. So I could take Social Security income and also hop on Medicare. And then ultimately that's going to be the starting point where I don't really have to work as much, or I don't have to go to work at all. So maybe from a planning perspective, that's going to be your point B from where you are right now, your point A. So it really is, based on what that person's preference is. If somebody has longevity on their side, they're healthy, they feel like they're going to live a nice long life, well then, and they really, love what they're doing, they love their career, and they want to work until their 70s or way past their age 70, maybe they want to trigger Social Security at age 70 and really maximize out that benefit. So it's really more of a personal preference. But when it comes to the retirement vision, that scenario, that's how you could kind of detail that a lot better, and creating a baseline on the ideal age and then backing up into the math. Okay, how do I do this? Maybe some individual wants to retire at age 60, and that's when they're going to start collecting some of their retirement assets, and they're going to utilize that as a type of laddering strategy from age 60 to 62. At age 62, they're going to start triggering Social Security income. Then at age 65, they're going to step up with an additional source of income, maybe off of different non-qualified accounts or Roth accounts. So it's always important to have some sort of goal in mind and then create a plan around that goal. Don't just leave different things to chance. And that's going to be more of the conversation when we're talking about the vision versus current scenario. The third most important question to ask is spousal benefits. And simply put, if, let's say, you have one individual that's going to be collecting $3,000 a month of Social Security benefit, and then their spouse is only projected to collect $1,000 a month, if half of the higher spouse's benefit is higher than the other spouse, then the other spouse will step up to half the benefit. So even though it's a little bit of a tongue twister, what do I mean by that? Well, if let's say you have spouse A and they're collecting $3,000 per month at their full retirement age, and then spouse B, and let's just say that they're the same age, is only projected to collect $1,000 per month, because half of $3,000 is $1,500, spouse B at their full retirement age will be able to step up and receive $1,500 a month. So together, spouse A and B could be receiving $4,500 a month before cost of living adjustment for their Social Security monthly benefit, as opposed to what they might have thought was just $4,000 a month. So there's little tricks, there's little things to utilize. And if one spouse is older than the other, it might make sense for one spouse to wait or one spouse to basically file, as the remaining spouse is delaying their credits and allowing the longevity to compound before they're actually triggering their optimized age to file. So there's going to always be a perfect formula, but once again, that means sticking to what your goal is and then sticking to a plan to figure out which one is the optimized benefit, which one is the optimized strategy, the optimized technique, to make sure that you're utilizing it correctly. And the last question is, how does this fit into my overall plan? Like, how can I actually look at Social Security as an asset? And if, let's say, we're taking cost of living adjustment off the table, and an individual is collecting, or let's just say a couple is collecting $60,000 per year of Social Security income, in 10 years, that's equivalent to a $600,000 bucket. In 20 years, that's equivalent to a $1.2 million bucket, not even incorporating cost of living adjustment. Cost of living adjustment, that's going to be significantly higher. So Social Security is a huge asset to leverage for retirement planning, retirement income planning in particular. When an individual stops working, what happens? Well, now they have to rely on what their guaranteed income sources are. So that's either going to be Social Security, pension, Social Security and pension, and then any remaining assets that they've accumulated. So this could be 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, thrift savings plans, 457 plans, traditional IRAs, non-qualified accounts, non-qualified brokerage accounts, savings, checking, Roth IRA accounts. So all of these different things, if you itemize them as individual buckets, how can you make sure that you're utilizing Social Security income in conjunction with these different buckets? So it's saying Social Security income, pension income if you're fortunate enough to have a pension plan, and your remaining assets to close up any gaps when you're incorporating your cash flows versus your expenses throughout retirement. So that's really the trick with everything. And when we're taking it a step further, like I mentioned from the very first question, provisional income. Well, there's different accounts that individuals could start pulling from to make sure that if they're taking from tax-free monies, those dollars are not incorporated in their provisional income. So if you have Social Security income of $60,000 that's going to both husband and wife, and they're also collecting, but they have $100,000 of expenses, and $40,000 of this is coming from tax-free areas, they may not have any of their Social Security income may be completely tax-free, because they did not go past that provisional income threshold, versus an individual that's collecting an additional $40,000, $50,000 from IRA monies, from qualified IRA monies, which therefore is jolting up that provisional income and therefore making up to 85% of that $60,000 taxable based on that individual's tax bracket. So, these little tricks could allow an individual to net thousands of more dollars in their pocket and pay thousands of less dollars in taxes, to the IRS by making sure that you're incorporating these solutions the best way. So when determining at age 62 if you should start triggering Social Security income, that is really all dependent upon where your goal is, what your vision is. What do I mean by that? Now, this is where the conversation gets a little bit dark. What I mean by that is the best way to create your vision, your ideal retirement date, your ideal retirement situation, is to think of a deathbed scenario. So if we just have an example and we have a husband, I want that individual to think about them laying in their deathbed, looking up, seeing their spouse, seeing their children, seeing their grandchildren at their bedside, and thinking back at their life. In that situation, what do they want to make sure they've accomplished? How can they make sure that they have every regret is taken off of the table? How do they make sure they do not have any regrets on their deathbed? And that is the most emotional way to do it, but probably the best way or the easiest way to put yourself in that situation. If someone's looking at that and they say, you know what, I really feel like I want to travel the world more. I really want to see Italy. I really want to see, Egypt or Paris or whatever it is. What was that ideal mindset? Or I really want to be close to my grandkids, close to my children. I really want to fish every day. I really want to golf every day. This is what I know that, I've made it. I've worked my butt off my entire life to get to this point. I no longer like working, or I really want to start reducing my hours when I do hit age 60 or age 62 or age 65. I really enjoy work. I feel like I'm making a dent in the universe. I'm making an impact in the world by the work that I'm producing, by educating individuals, by doing all these different things. So it's going to be relevant to really whatever's most important to you. It's going to be customized to what's most important to you. Some individuals are fine with working, and they feel like that is something that they will not have any regrets of doing. And then other individuals, unfortunately, the majority of individuals do not want to keep working. They want to say, I want to retire as soon as possible. How is that possible to make sure that I can retire in my 50s? I can retire in my 60s. How exactly can I do this? And it's creating that deathbed scenario. Obviously, we all want to live long lives, but that deathbed scenario is going to be a very realistic thing. There's no way to essentially hide from it. How can you be looking at your family and saying, you know what, I have a smile on my face because I did not leave anything to chance. I made sure I did this as I was accumulating my dollars, as I hit my retirement years. This is the different things that I wanted to do, and this is the things that I did. What is that scenario? And that's painting your picture as detailed as possible. You could hear it, you could taste it, you can see it, you could feel it, and you could smell it. What is that emotion that you're feeling? And then that's where you have to go to say, okay, this is kind of the age. This is the benchmark that I want to hit. And then you have to look at, what is your current scenario? What are you doing right now to try to get you closer to that point B? And that's looking underneath the hood off of your current assets, and then your projections, your trajectory with your current saving strategies and retirement planning strategies to get you to that point B. Is it possible to get to that point B, or do you have to make these slight tweaks along the way? Social Security maximization as one of those tweaks. So that's what I mean by saying vision versus current. Now, when it comes to creating your plan, that's where it goes off of the 4 most important things. And one of the things that we trademarked was the 4 most important areas of any financial plan, of any retirement plan, and how to make sure that you're accomplishing this in conjunction with Social Security optimization planning. The first thing is distribution planning. How exactly can you make sure that you're executing your different income sources, your different cash flow income streams, and your income is going to be greater than or equal to what your expenses are? Just like I mentioned with that vision, there's going to be specific expenses with that vision. If you want to retire at age 60 and maybe you want to travel the world for 15 years, 10, 15 years, well, then that's going to say there's going to be specific expenses from age 60 to 75. And then maybe at age 75 to age 80, you're going to have less of the on the go. So you're going to slow down a little bit. So maybe you'll have a reduction of expenses. And then from ages 80 until ultimately date of death, maybe that means your expenses may increase or might decrease even further because you're not going to be moving around even as much. So you're going to be more of the no-go years. So by going to the go-go, the slow-go, and the no-go years, that's putting things into a perspective. And then mathematically, how can we make sure to figure this out to the decimal point? There are certain Social Security optimization strategies. There's certain pension optimization strategies. And then also, if an individual has certain assets saved up, there's ways to make sure that they're creating income streams, utilizing specific accounts to cover any sort of gaps between their current cash flows or between their projected retirement cash flows versus their expenses. So that might be incorporating From income-related plans, you might be utilizing dividend-paying stocks. You might be utilizing bonds. You might be utilizing REITs. You might be utilizing rental properties. You might be utilizing annuities, and making sure that you're laddering and you're staggering these out properly so that it's at least giving you that baseline to make sure that your distribution strategy is always going to be greater than or equal to your expenses, so you're able to live that retirement vision. The next stage is investment or growth planning. Any dollars that you're not utilizing for your distribution income needs, that's where you could utilize it as some sort of accumulation need to grow your fund monies. Maybe you might take on a little bit extra risk, or you want to just have some more fixed accounts growing for discretionary purposes. Whatever that case is, it's based on what your risk tolerance is, based on what your current situation is, which sort of assets that you're utilizing right now, reducing any sort of expenses off of what you have right now. There are different ways to make sure that you're reducing your expenses by an extra 1%, 1.5%, because that could mean an extra compound interest in your accounts to grow your account size that much further. Does that mean reducing what your current risk is through your accounts and making sure that it's more slow and steady wins the race? What is exactly there's a lot of different meanings to that investment growth related strategy. Estate planning or legacy planning. Maybe you want to make sure that you're leaving some sort of legacy. You're leaving some sort of benefit to your loved ones in case of incapacitation or death. How to make sure that this is properly segmented. And then tax planning, which incorporates really all of those other three metrics. How to make sure you're the most tax efficient. Once again, one of the things I touched up on is if you're taking out monies from tax-free accounts during your distribution phase, and you're also collecting Social Security income, that could reduce or completely eliminate the different taxation that you may have on Social Security income. So that means netting more dollars in your pocket and allowing you to go and create that vision or live that vision more freely than what you might have been restricted because you just don't have the asset size, or you did not properly incorporate the correct tax planning strategies in there. So obviously what this spells is diet, and that's the name of our trademark process, the retirement diet plan. At the end of the day, what we care most about and what we believe that you deserve is living without any deathbed regrets. How to make sure that we can help you create the vision, understand your current situation, and then implement some sort of plan to make sure that this vision becomes some sort of reality. So that when you fast forward and you're in that deathbed scenario, you're not looking back and saying, "Ah, shit, I wish I would have, saved this much more money." You're able to live. You're able to essentially live that stress-free life, knowing that everything is covered with a specific plan. Too often what happens is individuals just try to grow their accounts, grow their assets, say, "Oh, I think Social Security income is going to be sitting there. Okay, I might just trigger at age 62, not realizing they may be shooting themselves in the foot if they do not have a proper plan in place. So by having a proper plan, that's what allows an individual is to make sure that they're able to create their vision and really live their vision without those sorts of regrets. So I hope that you found value in this video. Feel free to give our 1-800 number a call. It's 1-800-566-1002. Reference this video and ask to speak with an advisor so we could try to help you out regarding your specific situation. Some individuals, when it comes to Social Security planning, they may want to just see Social Security optimized reports and then see how that will incorporate or how that could complement either their current retirement plan or how we could help them create a new retirement plan with that Social Security optimization within the plan. Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Retire Sharp, so you have access to the most updated videos. Thanks so much, guys.